Alright, YouTubers, starting this channel today, decided that, it's hard to find a bunch of information on a lot of different things as far as homesteading. So, I decided to start this channel and try to put them all into one. I'll be learning things as well as, hopefully, I'll be teaching you some things, and we'll go from there. Purchased this land about a year ago. Well, started buying it, and as you can see before you, there's cedar posts. Yes, those are eastern redwood cedars, and they're about 6.5, 7 foot tall. They're in the ground about 2 foot, so they're real nice. This is the start of my grape arbor. I started last year. As you can see, I planted a few things already. Muscadines and Scotsmans and Concord grapes and Thompson seedless grapes. Didn't do real well last year, but transplant shock and all that, so we'll get into that much later. But yes, hopefully we'll finish building this up and get it going and have another picture of it, another video showing that. They're 8 foot apart all the way around, so I think that's 40 foot, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that. My math is not my strong point. Here we have, I don't know how well you can see it, a fig. And this come from my great granddaddy. He cut a piece of his fig off and gave it to my dad. It grew up, then we moved, and it grew, it's probably close to 25 feet tall fig tree. It's massive. But we moved and nobody tends to it, so it overgrew, and I was able to get a little tiny cutting. If you can see, this was all that was left. This is all that's left of the original, and it was about 3 inches tall. And I planted that last spring, and as you can see, it grew up 1, 2, those are pretty good size. That's over 6 inches right there where my thumb is, and 3, and there's 4, and it leafed out. It did real well. I was actually quite happy with it. Made sure to get a real long root with it, with the little tiny fibrous roots in it, or real hairy roots. So it seemed to do real well. It had a slow start, but it come on. This tree right here, and this next one, I got from Tractor Supply last year. And it was supposed to be blue damson plums. Well, blue damsons are good for making prunes. They're also good for eating right off the tree, stuff like that, But you can dry them for prunes is the reason why I got them. Well, I planted them, and as you can see, all this right here, the red, all this is new growth. This was the old growth. I haven't pruned it yet. It's still winter here, so I still got some time. Well, on the old growth that was here, it's still alive. It grew plum leaves that look similar to a leaf that you would find on a plum tree. This one, the new growth, however, looks more like peaches. And I know the grass, that's going to be the first thing you tell me, people that comment on the grass spot. But if you look, that's not the grass spot. The grass spot's way on down. So I don't understand why it's doing that. Could be a hybrid. Who knows? Maybe it got mislabeled. But we'll just have to wait a couple of years and find out what it is. Here we have another plum tree. One of these, and see, I have one there. That one's not doing so well. I think because it's a little shaded than most. But this one, I believe, is the Burbank plum, and that one's one's a Santa Rosa over there. If we move on a little further, we have a pear tree. One of these, I have 2 pear trees that I planted this year too. One of them's an Oriental, and I cannot remember which one the other one is. Now this one produced two pears last year. One of them fell off, and the other one turned black, so it didn't do too well. Of course, I didn't expect it to. You know, transplant and stuff like that, it's, you know, that's the way it goes. This one, I planted it. It was, when it come out of the pot, it was bent over. This is all new growth. This one, that's about 7 foot tall. This is new growth, and this is new growth, so I'll probably have to come in here and prune some of this out to make it grow straighter. And what we have here is, get out of the sun here, is my attempt at an herb garden. You see right here I have some sage that I left too long and forgot to harvest, but it looks like it'll come on through, so I'm just going to leave it, see what happens. There's some more. That's the only thing that grew up in the herbs. This right here, get out of the sunlight, is a chili tapine. It's a big bush. Those of you who are watching this around Mexico or Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, around in there, they grow wild out there, and they're pepper. And I have some that still stayed on there. As you can see on my finger, whoop, it popped off. This is about as big as they get. They're real small. Hundreds of seeds inside. They're loaded with seeds. And hot. They're about as hot as a cayenne. For that size, it's pretty hot. I have 3 of those planted. A guy that I'm good friends with, he gave me some. And I planted them, and they come up. I was a little worried about them. They do well in real sandy soil. If anybody wants some or wants to try to grow some, they're pretty easy to grow. I got plenty of them drying out in the house, so maybe we'll give you some seeds or something. I don't know. We'll do something with them. But here, if I back up a little bit, you can see the mounds of pine straw. 12 mounds of pine, well, 11 mounds. One of them died. The blueberries. Different varieties. Because if you plant all the same variety, one of them gets a disease. They all get a disease and they all die. So if you plant different varieties, one may get a disease, the other one lives. I also planted earlies, mids, and lates. That way I'll have a continuous flow of blueberries all year, which is nice. They generally, most of these get up to about 5 foot tall. That's about all they get to. Alright, also put in a solar clothes dryer. Look at that thing. I'd like to see you get a tax credit on that though. Yes, that is a solar clothes dryer. A little on the expensive side. You got cedar post, then you have the cable, and eye bolt with 3/4 rigid pipe, and then a turnbuckle, which is tightened. I need to tighten it up. We've had it real wet here last couple of days, and it's decided to move on me, as you can see. I gotta tighten it up. Not too bad though. I got that stuff. Got it tied with 2 rebar. I can just loosen that up, pull the cable, and then it'll come right on through. No big deal. That was the site of my last garden this past year. They grew reeds really well, but other than that, it didn't do too well. Got to amend the soil right over there. It did real well for tomatoes, but a little small patch, about right out in there, and then come down like that. That was about it. It's kind of disappointing. Did, however, make some horseshoes. Yes. Got to play horseshoes. And yes, it's regulation. You can't see it, but it's right there. I also have another project coming up, too. You can see the circle. It starts right here. It goes around 8 foot in diameter. Kind of went out around it. But I'm going to replant this with herbs. Got some herbs in today. I'm going to do an unboxing video. MyPatriotSupply.com. Seem to be really good. Seem to be pretty reputable. So we'll see. That is a crepe myrtle, which I cut down. Yeah, it was pretty big. It's too close to the house to be that big. So I'm just going to cut it down every year and make it a bush. Sorry for the background noise. Kids playing with the dog and getting mad. You know how kids are. This is another project too that I'm also going on. This is another herb garden. You can see daffodils are starting to come up right there and right there. This is the last day of January here in northeast Georgia, so it's starting to get around that time. You can see also there and there are wild onions that have a real garlicky taste to them, which they're pretty delicious actually. But I'm going to take the daffodils there and there, dig them up because I don't want them in here because this is going to be my herb bed, and I'm going to put them out there with my mailbox way out there. So that's going to be filled with herbs, probably some chamomile and lavender and hyssop and things of that nature. The same way as the ring right there. I got to get some rocks and dig it up and get all the dog feces out of it. Yeah. Also, I did this last year. I need to wash it. But a note about this channel for those. I will be talking about God a good bit. If that offends you, then change the channel, because I'm not apologizing for it. You can either continue to watch the video and deal with God being mentioned in His Word and passages being read, not trying to convert you or anything, just, expressing my heart. If you don't like that, then, like I said, change the channel. I don't care. I'm not asking you to subscribe or anything. I'm just trying to put information out there. I did this. It's a Missouri red granite. It's not supposed to be this color. I have to wash it because I was doing mortar mix and a little bit got on it, and I just had to wash it off. It's no big deal. But it's Proverbs 3:9. Honor the Lord with all thy substance and with the first fruits of all thine increase. But it's Missouri red granite. It's a 2x1 marker. They were going to throw it away because it was chipped up and had some cracks in it. So I had this run, and instead of blowing it down, I decided to do polished raised letters. So these are polished, and this is blown down. They're about 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch raised. Just something, And then all this is petunias, what's left of them anyway, from this past year. Now, those of you who live in Georgia know that as long as we don't have a very cold winter, petunias are perennials here. Yes, very nice. They attract hummingbirds and butterflies. Those of you who live up north, I'm sorry, but they are annuals. You will have to plant them every year. Also planted some, I don't know how well you can see that. It's not focusing in very well. Asiatic, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Asiatic lilies. Planted those here. They're real beautiful. They look similar to tiger lilies. There's one stalk right there. There's another one somewhere right in this area. And then there's another one somewhere right in this area. Why is my camera not focusing? I planted those. They look real pretty in my opinion. Also, I'm going to show this again once it comes up. But this right here, it blooms, it gets extremely tall. I mean, it comes out to here. There's little white flowers on it. And it feels like cabbage. The foliage on it feels like cabbage leaves. It's very strange. I don't know what it is. I'll show when it gets in full view and everything. I'll show it to you and see if anybody knows what it is. Maybe help me out. Also, my videos are pretty long, and I probably say and also and a lot of words over and over. Sorry. You can just deal with it or change the channel. Don't really care. Over here, you can see parts of it, is asparagus here and asparagus here. Last year it grew, you plant it, and the first year you do nothing with it, let it grow up, and you slowly fill the bed up. That's why it looks like this. We started them last year, but they did come up and they grew. Got them from Tractor Supply as well. They did fairly well. I was actually quite impressed. Rhubarb, yeah, rhubarb is right here. They come up as well, and you kind of treat them the same as asparagus. Walking onions come up here. They're still here, right here. You can see. Supposedly they bloom at the top and fall over and reseed, and they'll walk. Hence the name walking onion. Another fig I have here, I planted. This one come from Uncle David. It's a different variety from the other fig that I got. What the varieties are, I don't know yet. I can't remember exactly. So I have to wait and see. It's about 3 years, I think, before they'll start producing. Yes, nice compost pit. It's nice, isn't it? Have some rock for a water garden. Yes, it's a pond, but it's also going to be a water garden. It's not going to be a koi pond. Not going to do that. Also have cedar post that I had extras that was too short for my grape arbor down there. So I got them lined up here for this, which looks like nothing. But it's blackberries and raspberries. I had a few of them die, so I figure out what's going on with them. But this one did really well. It's a raspberry. I cannot for the life of me remember because I planted so many different specimens. But it did really well. I mean, it grew from there all the way up through here and down. Then another cane off of it, then another cane off of it. I mean, it did really well. I'm going to expand that out to where you see that last post. And that's about it. Any questions or comments, leave them on the page down below. What are you doing, girl? What are you doing, Josie? You want to say hey, Josie? You want to say hey, Josie? Say hey? You want to say hey? No? You don't care, do you? Nope. You're just happy to be outside. But any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section, and feel free to ask. And always, see you on the next one.